Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Houses of Allah, a podcast series hosted on Inspire FM. We're starting this series again after a short break, but we hope to get some amazing episodes recorded for you, inshallah, this summer. If you want to catch up on some of the old episodes, please go over to the Inspire FM YouTube channel, where all the episodes are available. So, what is Houses of Allah? This is a podcast series where we bring in leaders from our local mosques to have a deep conversation with them about their journey and how they got to where they are, as well as the work that they do. Our local mosques are doing amazing work, not just for the Muslim community, but also the non-Muslim community. One of our objectives is to highlight and showcase the wonderful work that the Luton masjids are doing for the community. Another objective is for you as the listener to be inspired to go out there and get involved in your local masjid, inshallah. So, I'd start by introducing our new co-host who's having his debut performance today, Brother Hamza. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam, dear brother.
Okay. So, and today's episode, I'm honored to have a very well-known figure from our community. It's Brother Maqsood Anwar from Madinah Masjid in Oak Road. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So I'll start with the first question. If you could just introduce yourself and your role at the Madinah Masjid, inshallah.
Right. As you mentioned, my name is Maqsood Anwar, and I'm one of the trustees of UK Islamic Mission Madinah Masjid on Oak Road. UK Islamic Mission is a oldest Muslim charity in this country, formed in 1962, and it runs about 70 branches all over the country, and Madinah Masjid is one of them. We have 24 trustees in Madinah Masjid, alhamdulillah, and we do lots of work, all volunteers. We have 2 imams that help us out, but most of all the work is all voluntary with our youth and also our sisters section, so everything is all done voluntarily.
MashaAllah. I think we're going to definitely dive into the story of how Madinah Masjid came about, but it'd be interesting to know a bit about yourself, as in how did you get involved in the masjid, going back?
How did I get involved? My father passed away in 1994, and he used to attend Madinah Masjid. I also used to attend, not really that frequently, but I used to attend. But when he passed away, his funeral was done by Madinah Masjid, and I ended up, going more regularly. And they were looking for a treasurer at the time, and I was, given the responsibility of becoming a treasurer for Madinah Masjid, which I did for quite a while. Then from there, I became an associate member and a member of and one of the trustees. And the journey then goes on. Then I was voted in to the National Shura of the UK Islamic Mission, which I am still a part of, alhamdulillah. So I've done the 8 years as a treasurer. I've been the vice president of UK Islamic Mission, and at the moment I am the head of relief for UK Islamic Mission as well.
That's nationally.
Nationally,
right?
yes.
MashaAllah. And you mentioned you became a treasurer. Could you just tell us a bit about yourself? As in, you must have some skills that were.
Well, I run a post office. I run a sub-post office. So we moved into Luton 1981. Did a degree in biochemistry, but I ended up running a post office because my father wasn't really well, sort of thing. So he had bought a post office. He was struggling with diabetes and other problems, health problems. So slowly I ended up taking over the post office until he passed away in 1994. Then I became the sub-postmaster. And I think it's been over 30 odd years since I've been a sub-postmaster, helping the community as well as the masjid as well.
I see. And you mentioned how you got involved in the masjid so far. So could you tell us a bit about the story of Madinah Masjid? Because it is I think it is one of the oldest masjids right?
There's 36 masjids in Luton,
Yep.
and Madinah Masjid is the second oldest.
Yeah.
So I think the oldest one is Westbourne Road.
Yep.
Madinah Masjid, 1974. So
74,
it's nearly 50 years since the first house was bought on 130 Oak Road,
Mm-hmm.
and then 128 Oak Road was bought a couple of years afterwards, and then it was extended back. So it has a capacity of holding around 500 people using. Because we bought a couple of more houses further down, so next door. So we own 130, 128, 126, 124 now. So 4 houses owned by the mosque, and we use 3 of them for the mosque, and also the car park at the back is used on Fridays. But we have around 1,000 people coming into the masjid on a Friday, and so we have to do 2 jamaats. But we're very, very lucky. We have a very good relationship with the football club, alhamdulillah. They let us use the football car park, so we don't have any problems with car parking. So, lots of people, because of the car park, they find it very useful to come to Madinah Mosque instead of other mosques where they find trouble parking.
That's a really good facility because you're right opposite the football club, right?
We are just a stone throw away, so we're probably the closest mosque to a football club as well.
Yeah, and then they let you use their car park, which which is really big as well, right? So
yeah, they let us use the car park. We have a good relationship with them, so we do lots of work with them as well. So it's just not the football car park. Even when just a few weeks ago they dug up their pitch, we had our youth come in and they had the chance to play football on the pitch before they dug up the pitch. So we had a couple of youngsters that was coaching them, and then they played football on the Luton Town football pitch before it was dug up and reseeded for next season.
So, mashallah. So it sounds like Madinah Masjid has like half a century of history, like around 50 years, right?
More than 50 years, alhamdulillah.
More than 50 years.
Yeah.
And you've got involved since 1994, right? So nearly the last 30 years.
30 years, yeah.
31 years. And you said you also got when you got involved in 1994, then you got involved in UKIM, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it'd be interesting to learn about so you told us about the history of the Madinah Masjid. So we should start with some of the services, because one of the things that we want to do in this podcast is there's a lot of things that the mosques are doing that go unnoticed, like people don't know about them, and we really want to showcase that. So I think one of the things I've heard about Madinah Masjid is Masjid open days for the non-Muslims. Could you tell us a bit about how that came about and what that's about?
Well, the mosque, I'm a hockey player, so since 1981 I joined Bedfordshire Eagles. Now they become Luton Town, and then I moved on to Vauxhall Hockey Club, and their chairman was a man called Gilbert Reid, and he was an ex-RAF person. And one day he asked me, what happens in the masjid? And I said, well, let me introduce you to the masjid, inshallah. So we did a first mosque open day, just for him, actually, and then we invited other people. No, there were other people, but, he was the main guest. Triggered it. So, and from there, we had... every year we started doing mosque open days. Then it became a national mosque open day with UKIM, and about 10 years ago, Muslim Council of Britain took it over, and now it's something that's being done all over the country. Many masjids are opening up, their doors. As you know, 1 in 10 people have visited masjid. So 90% of the population have never been in the masjid. Okay. So this is the opportunity to come into a masjid, look at, have food, there's exhibitions, and also see what happens in a masjid. Because many people not aware of the work that masjids do.
Exactly.
We see, the riots we had recently, sort of thing. Masjids were attacked. But if people knew what masjids did, what the work masjids do, it will never be attacked, because, people don't realize what's going on in masjids. And that is what mosque open days were there for, to make people come in, see what's happening, and the work that Muslims do. It's not just the 5 daily prayers that are happening in the masjids. There is relief work going on there. There is lots of community work going on there. Lots of interfaith work that goes on, which is never noticed. Even as many of our own namazis don't realize what, the work that goes on. And it's all done voluntarily as well, and many masjids are doing it. And UK Islamic Mission Madinah Masjid is one of the most active ones in this time.
Exactly. And you said UKIM started in 1962, so even older than Madinah Masjid.
Yeah, just on that. So yeah, you touched on the fact that a lot of non-Muslims have a preconceived notion of what Islam is. I was just wondering, do you often find that they're surprised when they come to some of these open days about what you guys actually represent and what the message you're trying to portray to just England in general, or just the younger community?
To be honest, people are quite shocked when they see the amount of work that's done. So, we usually give them a presentation. It's mostly just photographs of the work that we do. It takes about half an hour to go through the presentation. And we had Camilla King, who's the new Lieutenant of Bedfordshire, in last week. And, when she saw the works, and I wrote a email back to us that she wants to help us, with further projects sort of thing. And, she didn't realize the amount of work that goes on. And, not only do we have Muslims coming in, we have non-Muslims coming in as well. So the non-Muslims, especially the chaplains, new ministers, when they come in, for most of them, it's the first time they've come into a mosque. They don't know what happens in a mosque, what the work that is happening in mosques. And, it changes their perception. And also, because most of them, what they're seeing is what they're reading from the media. And as you know, the media doesn't portray Muslims well. So really, this is the opportunity to learn at first hand from Muslims what Muslims are representing.
So you mentioned that MCB is now doing this nationally. Does it happen across all the mosques at the same time? I think sometimes.
I think
similar time.
Yeah, I think over 250 mosques in the UK opened up their doors last year. So it's usually one Saturday, Sunday. Mm-hmm. So most of the mosques are opening up on that day and having the opportunity. Madinah Mosque is not a purpose-built mosque. It would really, really be nice if some of our purpose-built mosques, so even if, for example, Westbourne Road, if they open their doors, I think that would make much more difference than what you call a Madinah Mosque opening up its doors, because people then see what a purpose-built mosque is like.
Yeah, so that sounds amazing. So it sounds like, by having this mosque open day, non-Muslims, they can come in, they can see some presentations, they can ask questions, they can have some food like you mentioned, and
there's lots of literature there as well. So literature they can take away. We have Qurans there for them to take away. So again, we're not forcing anybody to take it. It's for them to have an opportunity to have a look, see what they want. And they usually choose some of the topics that they want to learn about. So we have hundreds of leaflets there. Different.
And it sounds like it's breaking that stereotype which you said is like, often like those riots that happen or things that we see on social media. Often, people have a really bad perception of British Muslims because of, the social media posts and sometimes the media headlines and stuff. And this is like, just the mosques opening up their doors and, telling everyone, come and have a look, come and learn, come and engage, and I think that's a really beautiful thing.
That's the beauty of it. And 2 years ago, I think we opened our doors when we were playing a football match. I think Wolverhampton Wanderers were the team that were coming down. So that again, we opened our doors at the same time as the football match. So all the people that were going to the football match, they could again come into the mosque, have a look, and have some food, and then after the game finished, some again turned up, sort of thing. So again, there was a different opportunity trying to get different people coming in. We have a very good relationship with our supporters, Luton Town supporters, alhamdulillah. whenever they've gone up, we've dished out sweets for them, and again that builds up. And also some of the projects, like the manager of Hartford had cancer. Again, we did talks on that sort of cancer as well, sort of thing, and then also raised money for that charity. So alhamdulillah, so that relationship is there. And from there, this is the third year that we've done the open iftar, which is again about 200 people coming into Luton Football Club itself.
Yes.
And then, people, we invite the people in again, so people learn what Ramadan is for Muslims, how to open iftar. And this year we had the from St. Albans Cathedral, the high minister from there coming in that's the first time she'd been into mosque as well.
Oh, really?
Wow. So again, we've been to the St. Albans Cathedral. We've done 2 or 3 different presentations there over the 3 years, and this was their opportunity to come into our masjid and have a look what that we do as well.
This is really good, because I think what it is it's not just a social event, which it is, but it also has an educational element.
Really and what we do is Abdul Ghaffur did a beautiful quiz, and there's an opportunity to learn through the quiz sort of thing, and
a bit of competitive fun,
learning at the same time.
Genius, I think. I was also going to say, like, you mentioned about the sweets. I think it was twice it happened. Once it was when they got promoted from to Championship, but then it was from Championship to Premier League as well.
Premier League as well, yes.
So, and I think one of those times I came along, and I remember that the football supporters, they were saying they were really happy. They were like you guys should come and watch the game more. Like there's not enough people from Bury Park watching the games. That's what they're saying.
Now, also what the relationship that we've built up with Luton Football Clubs, the under-21s, they struggle to fill up the ground for the under-21 matches. So what they do is they give us free tickets. And all our madrasa children, we have about 150 madrasa children. Again, they get opportunity to have the tickets and go and watch a football match. And for many, it's the first time they go and watch a football match. And again, this gives them the opportunity.
That also builds like a stronger sense of like a youth would want to go to the masjid if they know that they're getting these opportunities to have fun as well as learn.
That's it. Yep.
And that quite nicely moves on. We could talk about the youth. What services does Madinah Masjid have for the youth?
Well, for the youth, we have, alhamdulillah, from 5 to 7, we have a madrasa Monday to Friday. We have about 160, 170 children that are turning up. We've got a big waiting list. Again, we haven't enough room. We have run 7 classes from Monday to Friday. They go through a 5-stage syllabus. And by the time they finish this syllabus, they've walked through their O-levels, GCSE O-levels, religious instructions. Most of them end up with AA star sort of thing. So, very good syllabus that they go through. And also, we take them out to trips like the museum, learn about British values, and again, gives them the opportunity to, as I said, work with the football club and other engagements as well. But we run a youth club which is on Saturdays, and so every month they have a qiyam where they stay up until midnight. Sometimes they even stay
like a sleepover kind of.
Sleepover, and alhamdulillah, they have a story night.
Oh, yes.
So again, they go through a story of the prophets, for example, and also they have food, pizza, etc. More the kids style. Not the curries and chicken, but there's chicken chips or pizza, and also they play football. So we hired the football venues so they can go and play five-a-side football. And again, just trying to keep them fit and trying to get them off the streets. Really, at the moment, if you look into the street side, there's so much drugs problems going on, knife crime going on. And again, that is also an opportunity for us to educate them about knife crime. So, we've had what you call it big conferences with the police, the Luton Borough Council, the headmasters, and from there, we took this to the school headmasters of Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire, the secondary schools on about knife crime, and that again given an opportunity for them to see what's happening, and trying to get some of those kids that being kicked out of classes and having problems, trying to mentor them one-to-one, trying to get people on board. So, again, building that confidence and bringing those kids back into our community. We're losing those children, and, this is an opportunity to bring them back into the
I think,
community.
mashallah, this really ties in with what you said at the start, where you said a masjid shouldn't just be a place where you go and pray. Of course, that is the purpose, that's a major purpose. But the masjid also has a responsibility to serve the community, and through these different ways that you mentioned. And then I think that's something that other, mashallah, many masjids, we're blessed to have lots of masjids in Luton. But this is, I think, something that the masjid needs to follow, which is become a hub for the community and serve the community in addition to a place of worship.
I think the other thing is with the youngsters is on Sunday mornings we run for the disabled children. This is something I don't think any of the other masjids in Luton are doing. We started this off, I think it's over a decade ago. Al Ishara from London, they were doing their projects in London, and we asked them to come over to Luton, and then they trained some of our parents as teachers. So first they were teaching, and now those parents became teachers themselves. So these children learning
what
Quran by sign language and by Braille language.
MashaAllah.
So again, this is an opportunity. There are so many children that are disabled that we don't really know about. Many families are suffering, especially deaf and dumb children. Before, I think the statistics are that there's 1 in 100 that was diagnosed with the disabilities.
Okay.
Now it's 1 in 30 that are being diagnosed with a disability, a severe disability. So more people are being diagnosed, and from there we've taken it on to get a Jummah, especially for these disabled children and their families.
A dedicated Jummah,
Jummah for them. So
Mashallah.
Again, because for that you have to have the lights off, because the children some of the children, they don't want the lights on.
Yep.
So again, the lights are dimmed. We have to, put away things. So again, there's no danger of them harming themselves. And the khutbah is done in sign language.
Wow.
And for many, it was the first time that they've, understood the khutbah. And as a family. And then we also give out certificates to the children for turning up. Alhamdulillah.
Wow.
And I think it was really, really enjoyed by the families. And again, this is something which we want to carry on. And from there, we've helped our friends of Bright Eyes Phobe. Again, they've set up their center.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. And, they're doing great work. But again, the waiting list there is incredible. So again, we need as a community to help those sort of projects. And, we've raised money for Phobe, and we're still doing those sort of projects with them. So, looking after our disabled children.
Yeah, I think that's amazing, because some mosques, they don't even have, what's it called? Like facilities for disabled musallis. But you're actually going beyond and dedicating a whole Jummah towards for them, and mashallah, sounds beautiful. You said for some of these musallis, it was the first time that they were attending Jummah, listening to a khutbah. Beautiful. I think that's a very beautiful initiative. Mashallah.
Do you face any challenges when trying to run these schemes? I was just wondering, especially these schemes such as the for this disabled Jummah. There must be a lot of planning and is this something that there was a demand for it, or is it something that you that someone had you wanted to sort of portray?
Now there is a demand for it. Problem is trying to fit it in. So as I said, we have 2 Jamaats anyway on the Jummah. So this was a third Jamaat, which was what you call it, and it's trying to get those families in at that time, sort of thing. And also, as I said, the lights have to be dimmed. We have to, what you call it, make sure there's no benches or stuff left out for the kids to, and the books are all, So there's a lot of work behind the scenes that had to go on, and we had to have health safety checks for that before we could carry on. And alhamdulillah, some of the brothers from FOB came in and helped us with that, so, and give us advice on how to go ahead with that. Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah.
Sounds really good. So it was a collaborative effort.
Alhamdulillah, well, yes.
I think we'll end the first segment there, inshallah, for break, and we'll carry on in the second half, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Stay informed, entertained and engaged. Check out our new website, inspirefm.org.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to Houses of Allah. In this episode, we have Brother Maqsood Anwar from Madinah Masjid, Oak Road, with us. In the first half, we spoke about your journey. We spoke about the various services that Madinah Masjid provides for the community, the Masjid Open Days, the collaboration with Luton Town Football Club, and mashallah, even the work that the masjid is doing to serve the disabled. So we'd like to carry on in that spirit. And we also heard, everyone knows that Madinah Masjid is doing a lot of dawah as well. Could you tell us a bit about the dawah work, especially historically as well?
Well, UK Islamic Mission, its main purpose is three things: dawah, education, and relief. So dawah is very, very important to us. Dawah is, getting the message of Islam across to the host community. And alhamdulillah, we've got around 3.1 million Muslims in this country now. We are 4% of the population, but we have our own issues. With our, even if you look at the prison, 15 to 20% of people in prisons are Muslims. And
disproportionate.
And so again, this is an opportunity to not dawah just to not Muslims, but to Muslims as well. So again, in the prisons, we sent out literature, helped educate people, send imams. We work with the Markfield institution in Leicester. Again, they train chaplains. We help them to fund that, and from those chaplains go into hospitals and into prisons. Again, trying to do the dawah work for us, alhamdulillah. And also we have lots of school visits. Lots of schools come in. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had a Wood End school from Harpenden, which was mostly, all white children. And for many of them, most of them, it was the first time they've come into a mosque. And we've built this relationship up with quite a few schools, alhamdulillah, where, every year these schools come in for school visits.
Yep.
And also we're working with the Luton Council of Faiths, where we go to 12 different schools each year.
Yep.
So again, this is an opportunity, not just Muslims, it's Sikh, Muslim, Jew, Christian, by faith and other non-faiths. Yeah. So we have a panel of 5 or 6 people, and each person gets a couple of minutes to introduce their faith. We also tell them what Luton stands for, and then the children get an opportunity to ask questions from the panels itself, sort of thing. So they have their. So again, this is an opportunity for people to learn about our faith and also to build that relationship, to show that we can live respectably in Luton and work with other faiths. So not only we're doing that with schools, we also have Islamic awareness courses. For example, we have the fire brigade in. It's again coming in for the first time to again learn about Islam. They had a whole day course actually, which we run just about Islam. So again, opportunity for them to have food and also talk. And they also brought some of their cadets in.
Okay.
And many of them, some of the cadets are Muslims themselves. And that was their opportunity to, show their faith to their colleagues, which was really good, alhamdulillah. So we did lectures and workshops as well. And Luton Carnival is another one that we do quite a lot of. I think for the last 30 odd years, alhamdulillah,
Interesting.
we've, what you call it, always had a stall at Luton Carnival. Many people said to us, why are you going to Luton Carnival? You know, it's haram, etc. But alhamdulillah, because we have this dawa stall there,
Yep.
lots of books, people take those away. And then, you know, maybe the year after they come again. And we've had quite a few people that have taken books and then what you could come back to the mosque and said, look, I want to accept Islam.
MashaAllah.
So alhamdulillah, so that's something that's really, and
So
not
what,
only,
you've been doing that for, so how long have you?
that's been going on for over 30 years.
Wow.
So,
wow.
you know, we've been attending Luton Carnival every year sort of thing. And that's an opportunity again. Not only dawah material, we have henna. So again,
Yeah.
while people are getting the henna done, again, we're talking to them about Islam. Opportunity for them to try a scarf on and then take the scarf away with them. And again, that gives, you know how the scarf has been banned in France.
Yep.
This gives us an opportunity. You know, I remember when I first came into this country, it was 1967, and most of the women in this country were wearing scarves.
Yeah.
They would wear a scarf before they would go out. This started changing in the mid-80s, really, you know, 70s, mid-70s, 80s, before people started taking off the scarves. You know, even the host community were wearing scarves when they were going out. So, you know,
Oh,
so
really?
this is
Yeah.
something new, you know, for them to learn about, you know, that this is what's happening.
I think that's a very creative way of giving dawah, right? Like you said, many people were like, why? Many people were questioning it, but over the last 30 years, you've seen firsthand the benefits of
Benefits
it,
of
right?
it.
You've seen people coming to Islam or people changing their views on Islam, right? Changing from a negative perception to a positive perception, mashallah.
And also Discover Islam, which is in the town centre.
Yeah.
You know, many people felt uncomfortable coming into mosques.
Okay.
So again, this is some that we supported Discover Islam. It's a shop that is outside, you know, in the town centre.
In the high street.
In the high street, again, giving, you know, and many people have come, you know, especially the far right
Mm-hmm.
that hated Islam. And now, you know, if you go into Discover Islam, you'll find those far right people have reverted to Islam.
Alhamdulillah.
Reverted to Islam, you know, and they are the ones that, what you call it, now taking over and teaching people about Islam. So again, you know, this is something, you know, as a community we can do, you know, and we need to support projects like this. What we find is, you know, people like to give for projects like Gaza, for example, which is, you know, needed.
Very much needed, yeah.
But, you know, but when it comes to the projects in this country, people say, oh, it's not needed, they struggle with it. But, you know, I think it's important to, when you could support these projects as well, that, you know, help and bring the community together as well.
100%.
That ties actually in quite nicely with a question that I had for you. You say you work with a lot of sort of reverts and also young people. You mentioned about about torchbearers. Is that an initiative you have, like essentially molding the younger generation or newer reverts into successful leaders of the future?
What we do is, as an organisation, a UK Islamic organisation, we take 3 or 4 people from each branch. And, you know, the cost is around £12,000, I think, the total cost. But again, it's funded by the mosques as well. So helping these youngsters to learn about Islam and become future leaders.
Okay.
So it's really looking at youngsters from the age of 17 to 21, bringing them together, teaching them about Islam and how, you know, teaching them the skills of becoming leaders, you know, giving speeches, learning how to, you know, do media talks, etc. You know, again, many of our youngsters don't know how to do media. You know, this is an opportunity, you know, they're taught media techniques. So again, you know, they can represent Islam in the future.
Alhamdulillah, yeah. Another thing I wanted to touch on was charity and your charity initiatives. I know you work a lot with Food Bank, and you've got the Luton Food Bank, and you've got the Qurbanis coming up. How does that reflect in your drive to want to essentially drive forward charity in a local and also international sense?
Alhamdulillah, UK Islamic Mission has been around, as I said, since 1962. And, we work in 22 different countries, alhamdulillah. So again, as a head of relief at the moment, we do education, so Hafiz Quran projects, making people, building mosques, water projects, feeding people, food parcels, etc. And also livelihood. I think that's the more important one that we find, so giving the opportunity for people to learn skills, say like carpentry, embroidery, sewing clothes, giving them animals, pregnant animals, so they can, for example, a cow that they can then sell the milk, and then
create income, basically.
Income for themselves and standing on their own feet. You can keep giving people money, but it doesn't really solve the problem.
It's better to.
So if you can solve that problem,
tools.
so this is one of the big projects. UK Islamic Mission is doing, and as I said, we're working in 22 different countries. Alhamdulillah, Gaza is one of the most important ones for us. We've done a lot of work over the last 18 months. Got 109 trucks of aid into Gaza. But again, that has stopped at the moment. We also bought food inside Gaza and then distributed. But again, that is another option that is now finished at the moment. So we had 9 major mosques in Gaza as the UK Islamic Mission that we built. 7 of them have been destroyed. 2 are still working. And these mosques are not just mosques. These are 4-story buildings, so they've got shops at the bottom, so that's income coming in for the mosque. Then the first floor is the mosque itself, and then upstairs there were training centres for embroidery, livelihood projects, and also teaching children. And we had over 1,000 children that were being educated with our Hafiz Quran project, which is a 3.5-year course, and by the time they finish, they become Hafizes of the Quran. But again, we've lost many of those children. Unfortunately, many have been killed, made shaheed, and many have been driven out of the areas, and we haven't got any touch with them. So again, something that we want to look at in the future. In this country, we run High Care, which is the relief section of UK Islamic Mission in this country, alhamdulillah. Luton Food Bank for us is one of the most important ones. Luton Food Bank, they're feeding around 400 families per week, 400 to 450 families per week.
And that's just in the Luton, is it?
Just in Luton. And, we are the 5th richest country in the world. And you just imagine, we can imagine people starving in other countries, but there are people that are working. Someone like nurses, for example, they're not having enough money to buy food.
Struggling to make ends meet.
They're making ends meet. So they are going to Luton Food Bank. Alhamdulillah, we do support Luton Food Bank. And from that, as Qurbani is coming up, each year we do share my Qurbani. As you know, Qurbani is, we should all do Qurbani. And what we say to people that are doing Qurbani in this country is, look, you have 3 shares. The first share you keep for yourself, 1 share you can go give to your friends, but a third has to go to the poor.
Yes.
And what we say is make bags of 1 kilo and then give it to us. And what we do is we freeze that. And then Luton Food Bank then we tell them that this is how much Qurbani meat we've had. So last year we had over 220 kilos of Qurbani meat.
MashaAllah.
And they then sent people to come in, and we give 2 kilos of Qurbani meat to each person. And this
That's
year...
such a creative scheme.
Alhamdulillah. And this year we will be doing the same. And Islamic Relief has also come on board this year, and they're also going to give us 200 kilos. So we will have around 400 kilos to give away this year.
Lots of
Alhamdulillah.
meat, mashallah.
So inshallah.
Yeah. I know recently you've worked. You said you've worked with Luton Food Bank for a long time, but recently, mashallah, you did some really good work, right? Would you like to tell us about that?
Yeah, Madinah Mosque has been doing. We do a collection for Luton Food Bank almost once every month, sort of thing. But got other mosques involved, alhamdulillah, over the Christmas period. I think there was 9 to 10 mosques that came aboard.
Yes.
And we raised over £11,000 for Luton Food Bank.
Very good.
Again, giving them an opportunity to take food, buy food for because many children are, getting free meal, school dinners. But over the Christmas period, they don't get those meals, so they struggle. So again, this had the opportunity for Luton Food Bank to feed those families, alhamdulillah.
And it's actually quite surprising because in Luton, probably compared to other areas, Luton Food Bank is needed more than other areas.
To be honest with you, it was something, Luton Food Bank started over a decade ago. It was something that we thought, okay, it's going to last a few years sort of thing. But it's something that's grown and grown. And it's not just Luton, to be honest with you. I know UK Islamic Mission Peterborough branch. They are one of our biggest eye care workers with the Luton. They run their own food bank as such.
Okay.
And they work with places like Tesco's and Sainsbury's, which, food that's just going to become outdated, which they would have to throw away anyway. They just give it to the mosque a few days before, and then they pack it up and then give it to
okay, so it doesn't go to waste.
So it doesn't go. So serving to one is saving waste and also helping people as well. So that's another opportunity. But in Luton we don't do that. But we give food that is quite long dated.
Yeah. Talking of which, so the food bank we were talking about, which is really highly in demand in Luton, and Madinah Masjid is working closely with them. In terms of, I think recently there's a scheme called Lamha. Could you tell us a bit about that? So I think the listeners would find it interesting in terms of how you're supporting that initiative.
Again, this is an initiative that came from Madinah Mosque, but again, we've been working with the council, alhamdulillah. So saying to them, look, if you look into the Berry Park, Della Road area,
yes,
the life expectancy of somebody living in that area compared to somebody living, for example, in Bushmead, which is a few miles away. It's not
far,
not big. But the life expectancy is 10 years difference. Which is a lot of. So again, there is something going on in the Berry Park, Delaware area, which needs to be looked at.
And inequality, basically.
Inequality, maybe our diets, or maybe what we're doing, lack of exercise, maybe not enough green spaces around this area as well, sort of thing. So again, that's something that we're trying to work. Muslim Medical Alliance, which is to help bring those things with Luton Borough Council. And so first of all, we started doing blood pressure checks, because from there you can tell if somebody is going to get some sort of if they got high blood pressures, they will have some sort of problem, and then getting them to the doctors and making sure that. So we've done this in the Berry Park Community Centre and also Luton Football Club, and hopefully we're going to do it in the next few weeks in Madinah Masjid as well, and also taking it to other mosques as well, inshallah, in the Luton, Berry Park and Delaware area. Again, trying to educate our people about looking after their health. And also, we do wellness walks as well once every month, which is next one is on the 1st of June, alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah.
Luton is surrounded by countryside, beautiful countryside.
Definitely.
And if you have an opportunity to go out into the country, so what we do is we arrange. So next one is the 1st of June. We're meeting outside Foxdale School at 9 a.m. and it's a 6-mile walk.
Wow.
Through the countryside, and it's not very fast paced. It would take 3 to 3.5 hours, and you walk through the countryside, and there's usually around 100 to 150 people, Muslim and non-Muslim.
So it's open to all.
So it's open to all. It's an opportunity to talk to each other, and build friendships, and also, good for your health as well.
Of course, I think walking is like one of the best exercises. And you get fresh air, oxygen.
Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah, that's really good, especially since a lot of, especially the older generation neglect their health. You have your teas with like 3 or 4 sugars, or you have your laddu, your jalebi, your food mixed with a lot
Oily
of oil.
curries,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think this is beautiful. So Lamha, which is Luton Muslim Health Alliance,
Yeah.
right? And what's quite interesting is, we've acknowledged there's some health inequality happening, and to address it, I think the mosques will play a huge role in.
Inshallah. Just not what you call it, blood pressure checks. Also, we have talks, on heart disease, diabetes. We've had workshops trying to teach first aid as well. So again, this is an opportunity to come in and learn those skills. And not only that, what we've done is also working with Raise Up, which is another initiative, where we mentoring children that want to become doctors.
MashaAllah.
So we've got doctors from our own community. So 7, 8 doctors give their time over 3 weeks.
Yep.
So again, giving them opportunity to learn first aid, also to see how to apply to universities, and ask questions from doctors, get first-hand experience of what medicine involves, sort of thing. And we've not only just done that for medicine, we've done this for law and also for engineering, and we want to do it for other subjects as well, inshallah. Again, mentoring our youngsters and giving them an opportunity to learn, inshallah.
It goes back to your first point. We're seeing lots of issues in our community, which is like drugs, knife crime, and many, many things. And I think one of the problems is there's a lack of good role models for these youngsters. And by pairing them up with mentors, having a good role model makes a huge difference.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
As the Prophet ﷺ said, good company is the best thing. If you can stay with good company, that will get you off the bad habits, inshallah. So always try to get good company. And, coming into masjids, again, one of the other top things that we do is the loneliness clubs.
Okay.
Again, this is an opportunity for people to come into the mosque, sit down, have a cup of tea, and talk.
Nice.
1 in 4 people are lonely.
Yeah.
1 in 4. Do you believe it? They have got nobody to talk to, especially the elderly.
Okay.
And, this is an opportunity for people to come in, talk. And then, we find that most of our elders, they come in, they talk about Pakistan, India fight, or whatever they want to talk about. But, it's an opportunity to come in, sit over a cup of tea and talk,
Yeah.
And what happens is when we go home, people pick up their phones and then got their heads in their phones, while, parents are sitting next to each other, and we don't get those, talks that,
Exactly.
that were happening before. So again, this is an opportunity to, bring families closer together.
Yeah, and it really reflects as well in your. I've noticed as we were talking, you've talked about encouraging the younger generation, but you've also done community outreach projects and also working with local organizations like the Luton FC. So it really reflects in the way that you're talking. You're trying to get it at every stage in the community, and that's really inspiring.
MashaAllah. And just probably one more thing that we should talk about is, I think you mentioned about opening up the doors, right? I think you said there was an interfaith event with opening up to priests. Could you tell us about that very quickly, inshallah? 'Cause
Yeah, we have very good relationships with our interfaith. We're part of Luton Council of Mosques, and we also Luton Council of Faiths.
Yeah.
And this is something we find that many churches, they want to engage with mosques.
Yes.
And I think they find it easier with Madinah Mosque. I don't know why, but we've built those relationships up.
It's one of the oldest masjids, you
over
mentioned,
the
yeah.
years, sort of thing. So we have priests that are going to become priests. So again, just 3 weeks ago, we had priests come over from Oxford University, 15 of them that were brought in by one of the Hope Church,
Yep.
which is in over the far end of Luton, and again they came in, and this for many of them it was the first time they'd come into a mosque. So we showed them the work the mosques do, and also give them the opportunity to ask questions and tell them about our faith. How to us, justice was very, very important, and you had to you could talk, especially the issues like Gaza. We expect, these people to support us, and also the assisted dying bill that's coming in.
Yes.
That's another one. We had the Catholic bishops in now from Bishop of Northamptonshire and the Bishop of Nottingham, Catholic bishops. And to be honest with you, there is hardly any difference between the Muslim and the Catholic faiths perspective on assisted dying bill. Although our MPs, both of our MPs, are in favour of it, most of the people, in the faith community are against it. And again, this is something that we need to, talk to our MPs and say, look, we're not for this. This is not something that we stand for, and maybe you need to change your views, and
makes the case
and
even
makes
stronger.
that case stronger.
So I just wanted to ask, as time is short, I think this one episode is probably not enough to cover all the topics, mashallah, that you are doing. But I just wanted to say, you've been in this capacity for over 30 years now, mashallah. Just want to understand what motivates you and drives you to do what you do.
Really, at the end of the day, every one of us wants Jannah. And you got to serve your community. And I think, if you don't serve the community, you don't look after your people and your families. It's very important. To be honest, I give a lot of time, but behind me is my family as well.
Yeah.
My children, my wife, so when I'm going out to these projects to do it, she's running the post office. So again, she's getting the same amount of rewards as I am, inshallah. So, it's important as a family that we work together. And, it's just not me. As I said, there's 24 other trustees in Luton, in Madinah Mosque. They're doing similar work as well, alhamdulillah. And, trying to, make work. Yeah.
I just want to wrap up with the last minute, inshallah. Just could you give us a bit about a brief overview of the future plan and vision for Madinah Masjid in a minute, inshallah?
Well, Madinah Masjid has said, we lack the capacity. Although we're 50 years old, alhamdulillah, lots of projects and work is going on. We have so many youngsters coming in. Women work is going on. It's increasing. More and more people want to come into the mosque. So what we purchased about 12 years ago was the car park at the back from Luton Borough Council. And we applied twice and it was rejected. And this time it has been approved. It's a 1.2 million, 1.2 to 1.3 million project, which the car park will become a basement. There will be a basement at a big hall at the bottom for our youngsters to play sports, etc. And there'll be two smaller buildings on top, again joining the two halls. The ground floor and the upstairs hall, and it's extending the mosque, so doubling the capacity of the mosque, inshallah. Not only helping us to future projects, but also bringing in more work, inshallah, and helping to serve the community as well, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair. On that note, I'll end this episode, and Jazakallah khair for your time today. Thank you.
you.
Assalamu alaikum.